Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today's our lesson is about Introduction to Psycholinguistics. Psycholinguistics is the scientific study of how language is processed, represented, and acquired in the human mind, with a particular focus on the mental mechanisms that allow individuals to understand, produce, and learn language in everyday life. Language is considered one of the most complex and essential human abilities, as it enables people to communicate ideas, express emotions, construct social relationships, and transmit knowledge across generations. Because of this central role, researchers became interested not only in describing the structure of language, such as grammar and vocabulary, but also in explaining how language is connected to cognitive processes like memory, attention, perception, and reasoning. Psycholinguistics therefore seeks to answer fundamental questions about how the brain transforms sounds into meaning, how speakers organize their thoughts into coherent sentences, and how children acquire language so rapidly and naturally despite limited input. Key domains. The field examines key domains such as language comprehension, which involves interpreting spoken and written messages, language production, which refers to the processes involved in forming and articulating speech, and language acquisition, which explores how language develops in both children and adults. Origin and development. The origins and development of psycholinguistics can be traced back to early philosophical and scientific attempts to understand the relationship between language and thought, where scholars questioned whether language shapes thinking or simply reflects it. Although these ideas existed for centuries, psycholinguistics did not emerge as a distinct scientific discipline until the 20th century, particularly after World War II, when advances in both linguistics and psychology created the conditions for its development. Early work in the field was strongly influenced by structural linguistics, which focused on analyzing the formal structure of language, and by behaviorism, a dominant psychological theory that explained learning as a process based on stimulus, response, and reinforcement. From a behaviorist perspective, language was seen as a learned behavior acquired through imitation and practice, suggesting that children learn to speak by copying adults and receiving feedback. However, this view was later challenged during the cognitive revolution of the 1950s and 1960s, a period marked by a shift toward studying internal mental processes rather than observable behavior alone. A central figure in this transformation was Noam Chomsky, who argued that behaviorism could not adequately explain the complexity and creativity of human language. He introduced the theory of generative grammar, proposing that humans are born with an innate linguistic capacity known as universal grammar, which allows them to acquire language rapidly and systematically. This groundbreaking perspective redefined psycholinguistics as a field concerned with the mental representation of language and the cognitive processes underlying its use, leading to modern research that explores how language is processed in the brain, how it develops over time, and how it may vary across individuals and contexts.